Darklight Energetics channel is a project to explore the vast variety of topics about spirituality, psychology, and social topics as well. If you wish to support this effort, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon or make a one-time contribution through PayPal. Your support will help us improve the quality, length, and number of topics covered in our videos. Do check out the links in the description below. And to become our channel sponsors, email us at info.darklightenergetics@gmail.com. Do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much and enjoy the video.
Thank you for joining. Just waiting on Jeet. Whenever he shows up, we'll start. There he is. I could dance the whole time. I'll let Jeet talk and I'll dance. Woo! Okay, there it is.
Hey,
There you are.
what's up? What's up? Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon, night, evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, time is an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah. So Jeet is in India, and I am in
Yes.
California. So this is awesome. Thank you for
Wonderful.
joining me. I'm so excited for our chat today.
Same here, same here, same here. So,
Remember, we need
how's
to
it?
do the copy. Do you copy Jeet? Because we have
Oh yes, oh yes.
it delays. It's awful. Okay. Roger that.
Yeah. Roger that. But I think it's clear. It's clear. We are good. We are good. I guess.
Okay.
We are good.
Well, Jeet, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
All right. Well, sure. So my name is Jeet Sharma. Like already, she said, introduced me, and I'm from Mumbai, India. Physically on this planet Earth right now, and I've been I'm a spiritual counselor and psychic intuitive, you can say, and I'm also a modern applied psychologist. That's what they call, right? Modern applied. But I feel psychology is just another dimension of the mind, you can say. So that being said, I was a monk. What we in India we call it a grahastha monk. What you call is a monk, which is he's not outside of the family and outside of the society. He's just in the society and he practices all the spiritual practices. So we at Darklight Energetics, we try to connect, help people to connect with their own self, and we try to bridge between the balance of the dark and light and so-called normal and the paranormal, like we discussed, right? If you remember, Sissa. So that's just to put it in short, and of course there is more things. So that's with me, and that's all about myself.
That's it. And we love your background. Where are you?
I'm in my living room. It's a small house, actually.
Who needs a big house? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cozy and comfy. That's it. Awesome.
Yes, copy that.
Well, people who, I think everyone who's in here know me already. But I'll introduce myself anyway. I am Sissa, and I am a coach. I do so many things and nothing at all. Just kidding. But today I'm here with Jeet, and I'm so happy that we connected through IG. IG connecting people, like-minded people. It's amazing. And super excited for our chat. What an introduction. Yes, I do everything. Thanks, Ben. Okay, so
yes, Ben, thank you so much.
Sexuality, gender, sexual transmutation. It's such an important topic, and one that is not discussed enough.
At all. Not much. Yeah.
And there's so much taboo around this topic, and
Yeah.
you really it needs to be addressed. And one thing that I would like to start by saying that, you know, I would like for us to start talking about gender, because it's what shapes us into who we are as adults. So you're born, and depending on your culture, depending on your family, how you're raised, gender, as you are discovering the world, discovering yourself, having to deal with all your emotions, and it's crazy being a kid. If you do not have the proper guidance, then things can get pretty messy, and then that's how we end up with anxious adults and confused and the people who are afraid to show their real selves and their real sexuality, to expose themselves, because they're not learning how to cope with that at a young age. And so it is so important to learn as a child that it's okay to explore your sexuality. It's okay to it's okay if you're a little girl to feel like you're a little boy too. You know, like, we have the feminine, we have the masculine, and parents should provide a safe space for children to explore that. Absolutely. And, so we are taught that male and female are the only gender identities. And that's the binary view of gender. And it's not black and white. It's such a vast what's the word? World. Like, there is so much to it. Let me hear your thoughts, because I don't want to talk too much.
Oh, no. I mean, we can go on and on, right? In a way, if on this topic, because you're right. Like, this topic is very less addressed, and people hesitate to address about this topic. I don't know why. And you're right. Like, it's not like exactly black and white. In fact, recently there was this International Men's Day, right? Just recently, I think yesterday or yesterday. So I shared a post over there whereby I posted that I recognize and respect the masculine in you. All right, I respect and appreciate and acknowledge the masculine part in you. And many girls are like, whoa, okay, all right. I mean, I'm like, I'm like, dude. I mean, I'm like, you are also that. It's not just the feminine. So how much you identify yourself with all these things. Like the physical stuff and all the other attributes attached to it, right? And I personally feel that you are right. Like it's not just the upbringing. I feel that we need to, as a society, we need to break everybody from these stereotypes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like pink is girls, and blue is male or whatever.
Exactly, and pink is not for guys. Yeah.
I mean, I still remember in the 80s when I was a child, I was like, and that time in India, we used to get a lot of American toys, and we used to play with, we used to, all we used to get is G.I. Joe, as a guy.
I love
and we used to play with that, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing with G.I. Joe and all these things. But at the same time, there were my friends who were playing with Barbie dolls. And I was like, I used to always wonder, like, that's a nice doll over there. Why can't I play with that? And my parents would be like, no, that's the girl stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. So what I understand is that, it goes right from the childhood, actually.
Right.
The things are put in our heads,
And some cultures are just so, like in Brazil, the macho man. Oh my God, it's so real. Like, my son, this is my son. This is my son's shirt because I miss him so much. I'm wearing his shirt now. The ones that don't fit him anymore. Anyway, my son growing up, like, he was given a little piano keyboards toy, and it was pink. His dad went crazy. My son is not gay. Who gave him this?
Yeah.
he's not going to play with
Oh,
it. He's going
yes.
to get away. I was like, come on. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
color.
exactly.
It's strong. In certain
And
cultures, it's strong. And then,
yes,
what are you teaching the kids? Hey, this, it's so crazy. I'm so glad that things are starting to change. That,
yes, absolutely.
because we were having so many people take their lives because they couldn't live with themselves, because they couldn't accept themselves, because they didn't learn to accept
Yes,
themselves, and because the main reference in their lives, who are the parents, couldn't accept them either. It's terrible.
exactly. It goes from generation to generation. But fortunately, we all, as a planet, or as a mankind or humanity, we are heading forward to an era or an age. You can say that, where everything is going to merge, be it religion, or be it, any all type of culture, all type of divisions will become one internal. I strongly believe that, and we can see that right now in society. You see, all these things that are happening, it's kind of a turmoil which is created before peace. So it's like that. So, but you are right. Not just the specific stereotype thing, but also, certain attributes that we say, that we tell them that, look, being a guy, you should not cry. You are strong, like you said. Like they say that you are a macho man. You should not cry. But in certain cultures, it's so strong that the parents themselves don't allow their kids to even express anything. That is the very unfortunate part. And in the name of being strict or being disciplined, you kind of kill that child within. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I still remember that, we have done a lot of courses on this when we do child psychology, for example, or when we treat people in meditation. When they go back into their childhood, forget about the teenage. Teenage is always filled with traumas and heartbreaks and all of that thing. But but even childhood, those things also, they even though everything is good and everything is pink and all, they are born in silver spoon, for example, but still those things, there are certain things that affect them a lot, and
Right.
those traumas are there forever.
Yeah.
So, and it all boils down to how much you accept yourself. Now that is the big topic. When we say accepting the self, what it means is not just the physical self, but overall self. You know what I mean? So not just the
It boils
gender.
down to to how you feel as well. Of course,
Yes.
accepting yourself, but also understanding your feelings, and really just sitting with yourself, and letting yourself be who you are. Like,
Right.
and then it's better to not even have what's the word, like, it's better to not even have those labels, like, oh,
Exactly.
I am this, I am that. It's just be.
Yes.
Be. It's
Yeah. But then the point is, then the point is, just be is the one thing which where everybody gets confused, right? Because
right.
then there comes a lot of conjunction and a lot of what do you call, like you said, labels, where people get confused of being and becoming. They don't understand whether I'm becoming something or I'm being in the being state.
Right.
But coming back to the topic that we were discussing, even when we speak about sexuality or even sex, right? People are so hesitant about it because the only reason behind that is, it's not that just the taboo part. It's not just the taboo part. If you understand clearly, we have seen this in a lot of processes that we do. Many people are not able to accept themselves as they are, first of all, so they have this inferiority complex for themselves. You see, now just imagine that. Now that type of a person marries a girl, and girl is also having certain inferiority complex. So both of them are having complexes, and when they produce a baby, the baby will by default have those complexes downloaded from them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now the baby who is there, he or she will not be aware that from where those complexes are coming from.
Uh-huh.
So That is the genetic part, which is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So that is something which I believe is which all of us we don't know, right? What is actually what we have inherited from our parents, right? Or what download we have got. So for that, that is why we have this meditation or other techniques where you come closer to yourself as in self, and you discover who you really are, not just psychologically, but you really discover who you are in the sense what are the patterns that are following, right?
Uh-huh.
And especially, again, coming back to the topic of the day, that is sex. It's so funny, Sisa, whenever you try to speak this topic with someone, let us say if you try to speak, first of all, they will hesitate, most of them. I mean, I don't know over there, but many of the, what do you call, the traditional people, they will hesitate with all this type of topics, right? Because they have the tradition to save. Anyways.
Yeah, it's funny to say that because it is true. Like, it's very, I don't know, like not everybody is talks about it openly. And when there's someone who does, they're like for instance, I come from Brazil, and I come from a state called Bahia, and it's a state where it's very sexist. Women are even more sexist than men. It's like crazy, and I have always been myself. Like my parents always allow me to just be more my dad than my mother, but so I'm like open, and I talk about everything, and and so and so I would sit down, and I think I always had a very strong sexual energy. I always well, not always, but I guess between, I don't know, 15, I think it started around 15, 16 when I started really, thinking about that. Because I lived my years very well. Like, I was a child. I didn't try to grow up fast. Like, I lived every moment like it was the last. And so I was a child. I was a preteen. I wasn't thinking about sex when I was 12. No. So then when it started, when I started, exploring that side of me or whatever, so I always talked about it. And I would openly talk about it at a table with guys, with girls, whatever. And girls would be like, oh my gosh. What? Oh. Yeah. And I'm like, what? And so.
Yeah. No, I was just about to say that, being a guy, if you talk about this topic with a girl, the girl will be like, oh, he wants to have sex with me.
It starts early
for
for
sure.
guys. Sorry, Ben is saying he was thinking about sex when he was 12, but it starts early for guys.
Oh yeah. It is way early, actually. It's way early. It's way early, actually. And it's not just about thinking. It's again, it goes back to the whole thing, like the conception, and there are a lot of other things that affects us,
Right.
And of course, the surrounding of and the ambience that we create for a baby, right?
Yeah.
In the house, right? So see, now Ben is saying even when I was 8.
He came out of the belly, like, let me go back into the belly or whatever. Like,
no, I agree with Ben. I agree with him when he says that, maybe even one, and that's right.
It's true. True. Yes, it's true. Because, for instance, with babies, they are exploring. The act of putting everything in your mouth, you're orally trying. So, yes, and then we discover ourselves, and we're touching. We discover, our intimate parts, and I'm a mother, and I do work with children. I take care of children, and you see that. And that's the key point. When you see it happening, you don't say anything. Sometimes we're playing, and the little girl's like just touching herself there when she's not wearing. Because sometimes she's not wearing any panties or anything. She's just free, and just roaming around naked. And so that's I'm not gonna. Oh, don't touch yourself now. Oh, what are you doing? No, you just let it be. Because it's
of course.
It's part of it's helping them just see it as a normal thing, because it is. It's so very much a part of us.
No, but you know what? This is the thing where we have to understand the thin line between being normal or what we call as natural, right? Like say for example, I know a friend of mine and he was very much like he was in his 20s, for example, and he was suffering from depression. So when we went for this psychological analysis and all of that, he said that look, I have many girlfriends by now. He started, having girlfriends when he was like 11 or so. Okay, and but by the time he's 20, he's like, I'm done with it. I'm like, okay, but he's like, he's like, it's very natural. I said, no, it's not natural per se. If you understand the whole thing, I mean, it's not natural because as a child, if you remember, as when you were 5 or 6, you may have crush or you may have that type of connection, which we also call a spiritual connection at times, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there is a spiritual connection as a kid when you are a kid. But then, even when you have that, you will not visualize, or you will not be like, okay, let me get her like that, like bang bang stuff, right? So that is when, because of the hormones and all the other changes that happens within us, right? As eating, yes.
True. That is so true.
Manufacture around, yeah, but that's not like, see, we need to understand it's normal as eating, like you said, but you don't keep on eating, right? You don't just eat anything, right? Even in eating, we draw certain lines, right? You just don't start eating anything, and it's the problem is that we have underestimated sexuality or sexual energy, which is a very vital part of our body, actually. Not just about, it's not about just procreating stuff. So right now, if you understand, if I have to explain it spiritually, quote unquote, right, it's the energy that is flowing. Now, ideally, the energy or the kundalini has to go up, right? Oh no, it's not about junk food and vegan food. No, not at all.
No. He means that what you're saying is what you said.
Yeah.
But then it's not just
yes.
eat. So yeah.
Yes, like that. Yes, of course. So ideally, your energy must go up. So remember, we are talking about sexual transmutation. So how you
sexual transmutation.
Yes, exactly. But before we go in that, let us understand the whole lust part, how it is, creating the whole havoc within us. So one is the actual physical lust, which is natural, right? The other one is the psychological lust. So if there is nothing in front of me, it's like he said, like let's say for example, if let's say you like cake or pastries, I don't know, maybe you like cheesecake. So right, you like cheesecake. So if I say that, Sissa, if I'm bringing this nice, delicious, yummy cheesecake and it's filled with chocolate and all that, right now it's not even there, but your mouth will start watering, right? Exactly. So like he said, it's about the senses. It's the mind. It's a psychological thing. It's not even there.
Right.
So that is this psychological lust which is there, and unfortunately, it is also related with the insecurities and fear that we have, whether we admit it or not.
Right.
So the more, let us say for example, if you don't like the job that you're doing, or you just don't like anything, right, you are in a very depressed state. So automatically, your body will produce such thoughts in you, and you will be like, you'll have those dusty feelings or those type of feelings. You know what I mean? So there are of course different categories and all of that. But again, coming back to spirituality, that energy is supposed to be going up and also down. See, it doesn't matter because actually, in true essence, there is no such thing as up and down or high or low in spirituality, right? In real spirituality. But just so that we can understand, I'm telling this, that the Kundalini Shakti or the Kundalini, what we call the spiral energy which goes up from our spine, it is supposed to go up, but also at the same time it is supposed to go down also. That's the cycle, right? And okay, energy translating the need. Yes. So the
yes,
the energy, yes, exactly. The energy, the double cheeseburger, exactly. So the energy goes in the cycles, but you cannot just go up directly. You have to go through the lower levels, right? And
Of course.
in this process, the expressing of this sexual energy is what matters. How do you express? Now, here is the catch. One is the physical lust, like we talked about, right? Now, it's like this, if I ask you, it's a very funny thing. Let me ask you this, and let me ask everybody who's watching this. If I ask you, what's hot, for example, like, we have the trend that, oh, she's hot or he's hot. For example, what's hot? If you define, the moment we say hot, immediately our brain is linking, with sex somewhere, it's like, or sexuality, right? But it's like, it's like differentiating between love making and, bang bang. You know what I mean?
What?
There is a
Bang,
difference
bang?
in that.
I like
Exactly.
that. Oh my God, love making and bang.
But I'm just trying to be, I'm just trying to.
Okay.
I'm just trying to use.
It's the end.
Yeah. So but
bang, bang.
bang bang. Well, it's not Indian way, but actually I don't want to use the other words, you know what I mean?
It's okay. It was cute.
Yeah, but but you know what I'm saying, right? It's the gist of it is like what exactly.
I'm gonna put you in check. Yeah, I'm gonna put you in check. You gotta say it as it is. No bang bang. You gotta say it as it is. This is the purpose of our life. It's to be open about it. It's to say it as it is. For instance, this just reminded me of the fact that again, with children, parents never say vagina and penis. Why not? It is a vagina.
Yeah.
It is a penis. They're like, oh, your little
that is it.
Your little tutu. I don't know. It's like it's a vagina. Say it as it is. Let's
Yeah.
And that's when it begins,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So I'll not use bang bang in that case.
Yeah, but interrupting you just for us to go into sexual transmutation really quickly as well.
Yes.
People, or some people, they're always trying to overcome the desire of sex that they have. And I think it has so much to do with, also Ferris said, the shaming, all the taboo on the subject. And so they're always trying to overcome their desire. They're always like, how do I show this? How do I explore this? Or no, maybe I should just keep it to myself. And sexual transmutation, it's about accepting your sexual drive as an innate part of you. Like it's just part of your nature. And so let's talk more about that, because that is very important.
So absolutely. I totally agree with you, because see, the thing is that not just accepting, I believe, like I said, it is also about expressing, how you express it, right? I mean, most of the people in the countries where all these things are taboo, for example, most of the couples are not happy because the couples are not able to express their sexuality or their desires, or they are not quite comfortable with each other because of this, like you said, right?
Now they don't do. Yeah, it's true. You get a lot.
No, like you said, they will. Yeah, so they will, like you said, no, they will not call penis a penis. They will say, oh, I want to eat banana. Let's go into the bedroom. I want to eat banana. So we have seen some cases in, it's like in these countries where the culture is more like it's like it's taboo to talk about it, right? For example. But anyways, coming back to what we were talking, so transmutation is like basically. So there are two things. One is the suppression of this energy, and one is the expression of the energy. Now, when I say express, I don't really mean that you just go out and just start banging. It's not just that. It's also the like we discussed. Like you can express it in the form of dance, in the form of any type of things, creative.
Yeah.
Or you can
yes, you can definitely.
You can process the energy.
The energy. And
yes, you can process it.
Allocate.
Exactly. You can process this energy. Exactly. Even in fact, that is the main powerful basic tool to manifest things in your life. The more you try. I mean, the more you get practice, and the more you understand this energetically, you will know that why should I even waste my energy in such things? I can, whether I can use it in a very profound way. For example, in terms of manifestation, I'm saying, right? So this often happens, like especially in the teens, like like, now I'll be very blunt and very straightforward here, like you said. So if the teens are asking that, Jeet, I masturbate at least 3 to 5 times in a day, for example, or more than that, there are some people who are really horny in that sense, right? So what is happening is they are just doing it without being conscious about it. We are without being aware of what actually it is, what is that force, right?
Okay.
You can call it sexuality. You can call it sexuality or all those images which are there in the head. But like I said, there is nothing in real. He or she is just doing it and wasting that energy. Instead, you can use that energy and preserve it, and you can transmute it, and you can use it in a different ways. It can be the manifestation, or you can also do whatever you like to do or love to do. For example, you like painting or you like dancing, and if you transmute that energy in dance and express it in that way, then it will be more. Then in fact, you will become more efficient in whatever you are doing.
Right. Yes, it's important to do everything consciously, like mindfully,
Exactly.
like in present.
Yes.
So it's not about like anything in excess, right? It isn't good for you. So it's just, I think that a lot of people who do that, they're still exploring. They're still like, rather they know they're doing it consciously or not, they are still exploring themselves sexually. They're still trying to understand that. They're still trying to deal with whatever repressions they had growing up, whatever, it's so, we go through so much. The guys, the rejection from women or whatever, everything adds up to and so I love the psychology behind this, because like I love talking to psychologists, because I have so many friends and we get into so many deep conversations because it's so interesting. The human mind, the how, like I always say that I would love to just, I kind of do that with my son, but I just let him be, and I would love for, I think they must have, how do you say, experiments with this? I don't know, like when they have a group of kids or children that they watch growing up, they want parents to raise them a certain way, and then they take another group of parents, and, because that's really study the human behavior and how you see how it's affected by, nature versus nurture. And so one day, for instance, my son came home and he came home from school, Mom, I am gay bisexual. I'm like, oh, you're not just gay, you're gay bisexual. I like it. And he looks at me, he's like, oh, you still love me? I'm like, of course I still love you. And he's like, oh, you don't care? I'm like, it's your choice, baby. If you want to be gay, bisexual, be, but you have to adopt children because I want to be a grandmother. But, and so, and he was like, okay. And then he goes about his day. I mean, it's all. It's all.
No, but that's a good thing to do, because as a child, he might be expecting, or sorry, not expecting. He might be under the assumption that you may reject him for expressing this. And I feel that is the key point. The rejection, like you said, rejection from girls or rejection from anybody. It's like all those things accumulate in us. All the psychological mess, what we call, all the traumas, all these things accumulate, and that makes a person what he or she is. And that's why if you see, I don't know about that, but we have seen this as a result of meditation camps and the other things that we do in countries like Asia, Asian countries where parents are very strict, for example, right? And then they beat up their kids, for example. Now their kids are so-called quote unquote decent in front of their parents, but when they get married, these are the kids who are start domestic violence because that's what they have gone through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, a child is not able to express all these things, and the very first thing that they do is express it out sexually with whoever woman they spend time with. It could be the girlfriend or a wife,
right,
for example,
right.
And that is where the energy, is the use of energy is very negative way you can say, right? So I totally agree. In fact, I'm really happy to hear this actually. Sissa, that this is how it is supposed to be. Like you as a parent, we have to we need to support whatever the child is, and we have to guide them. And that is the crucial age actually. Even Ben said it. 7 and 8, for example, 7 and 8 is the crucial age.
8 years of age, those formative years, yes, crucial. Yes, that's when you're
Absolutely.
because you're learning by watching,
yes.
by listening, and they are always listening, even when you think they are. and they do learn.
Yes.
From example, they're watching you. They want to mimic you. You are their reference.
Yes.
And we parents represent. Oh no, hi, and we represent so much. We are their world. So then your first reference is right there. It's us. It's the mom, the single mom. It's the couple, the gay couple, whatever family structure you have. So then, yes, it's truly important that they are guided well and that they understand that. Yeah, and it's this bring like I just touched the fact that families nowadays, for instance, when you're playing with kids nowadays. You don't just say, okay, so there's a mommy and there's a daddy, because it's not true anymore. Like there isn't a mommy and a daddy and then the kids. There's a mom and a mom. There's a dad and a dad. There's just a mom. There's just a dad. And all and so it's nowadays especially like everything that children are being exposed to, it just. And I think growing up for us was already difficult. Now is even more because of everything that's just out in the world, and so it's of utmost importance that they have the right guidance. Hey, Oscar.
I totally agree with you. In fact, there was this a very funny thing that happened right now because of this whole coronavirus thing which is happening, right? So this happened in our neighborhood. So there is a small baby, and she's so much engrossed in observing things. She's a small kid, right? And because everybody was wearing masks, so she asked very innocently. She is asking her mom, "Is this the new underwear? I want to have an underwear like that." The reason I am sharing that is, this is the level of observation that the kids go, and then there is a certain thing known as mirror neurons in our brain, which copy and imitates, even if you don't consciously do it. Like it happens in any movies or any series that you watch, and it's happening in the series and you cry. It's because there is this, as a human being, we all are connected, and we have this even neurobiologically we are connected. So you feel, even if you are not that sensitive enough, but your brain feels, right? And obviously we are not in the control of all of those things. So especially when we speak about the age of 1 and 7, not only what they hear and listen, but our thoughts and feelings, they are more receptive towards that. Actually, the babies I'm talking about, and that is when after 7 years or whatever, like 8 and 13, we have to really introduce them with all these things. And in fact, in ancient tradition, I'm not talking about today's tradition, but in ancient tradition, if you see, at the age of 5, they used to start teaching them meditation techniques. Now, when I say meditation techniques, I don't mean any religious thing here. I mean the actual meditation, the spiritual stuff, right? So, right now, I'm just telling it for the sake of the audience, just in case. So, it's not nothing religious. It's about spiritual, techniques. So, from the age of 5, if you train them, then they by default know intuitively how to channel this energy. You know what I mean? So when they enter their teenage, you as a parent will not, you won't even need to tell them that this is what it is. They know.
Right.
They will know it. So when the puberty, when they hit the puberty and all those things, when the changes happen, they know how to handle those energies. When that's how you train them actually. So I think that is why spirituality is very much important for all of us. It doesn't matter that what is whatever beliefs and all of that. It doesn't really matter, right?
We're all
But as
yes,
exactly, we are all spiritual, and but these type of techniques, it's like how we all brush our teeth on a regular basis, right? Or how we take a bath. I don't need to go and tell anybody that, hey, you know what, your teeth are dirty. Just go and brush your teeth, right? It's a understanding that everybody brush their teeth. Right. So similarly, we need to introduce meditation and all these things into our day-to-day life, yoga or whatever is convenient to you. Like in yoga, also there are so many things nowadays, right? You can dance and do yoga. It's not that you have to just sit in a particular pose or do stretching exercises.
Right.
Like meditation can be, even meditation also can be of different levels. It's not that I just need to close my eyes and all of that. That is, of course, in the primary level. But as you grow and as your intensity grows and your awareness grows, even while I'm talking to you, I can be in a meditative posture, right? So with the eyes open, everything open, a regular thing. So meditation is just a tool to bring back your awareness, like we started off, right? So the awareness is the key. And in fact, you will not, I'm not sure if you know this, Sissa, there is this particular technique of meditation called Vipassana in India. And it's very famous in US also. It's nothing. You just have to sit down and observe all the energetics that is happening in your physical body. So suppose when you first sit for meditation, right, you will get some kind of sensation or pain in your knees and all of that. And automatically when you observe it, it's a technique actually. I cannot obviously explain it right now, but I'm just telling you so that you can get the idea of it. So you experience your physical body, whatever is going on within, right? And then you transmute the pain. Okay? So you learn how to transmute the pain, be it physical pain or psychological pain, and then that pain automatically transforms into joy.
Okay.
Basically. It's a different type of a joy. Yeah. Sorry?
Yes. But how does this, so then how does this relate to the topic? Like so are you
the topic? Yes. Yeah, so I was just saying that in the similar way, when we meditate, the sexuality, the sexual energy can be transmuted, right?
Okay.
And in fact, there is a different genre in India. We call it tantra. Tantra is a different thing altogether.
Of course.
But one of the aspects of tantra is tantric sex.
Right.
So that now, unfortunately,
beautiful subject.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so it's a huge, vast subject. But then the thing is that it is very it's very misunderstood in the different countries. Like in West and especially in Europe. So even in India, actually, not many people know nowadays what exactly is tantric sex. So it's just like they think it's some kind of different pose or something. It's not like that. It's a very different thing. But the reason why I'm bringing that topic here,
give us a little introduction because we are going to touch this subject on our next live. But let's have a little bit of what tantric sex means.
Oh yes, I would definitely love to discuss that, and it's a huge topic, of course. So introduction will be like this, that, first of all, Tantra, let us understand what Tantra is. So in ancient spirituality in India, we call it Tantra, Mantra, and Yantra.
Mm-hmm.
So Tantra, let me tell you what is Mantra. Mantra is the chanting, right, of any type of mantras, basically. And then there is Yantra. Yantra is a particular design. Like you must have seen the Yantras, they are a specific design based on Fibonacci theory and a lot of other theories.
Yes, yes.
And basically, it is those, those designs. And there is Yantra. And then there is Tantra. So Tantra is basically, if I explain in scientific manner, it's like there is matter, then there is dark energy, and then there is matter, and then there is dark matter. Or you can say that there is energy, and then there is velocity, right? So the energy is there, but the thing that gives the velocity and acceleration to it, that is Tantra.
Okay.
You can say that. Now, it's a very huge topic, it's a very different topic, but Tantric sex is just hardly 1% of it. Like, it's just one aspect of it. But we must also understand that, it's nothing to do much with sex. It's actually going beyond the physical body, beyond your psychological things, beyond the need of having sex or to copulate, basically. It's not just about copulation. It's about literally, transmuting the energy and exchanging the energy and helping each other, whoever it is. It doesn't matter male or female, whatever. It's like, whatever. Like we discussed, sex doesn't matter in that. Even nothing matters in that. It just goes beyond everything. And it is basically to help each other awaken to the highest level of consciousness.
Right.
Because as many of the...
using it to reach the divine.
Exactly. You can say that. So the thing is that as we know that
through sex, that's what is considered, like that's
yes,
the way.
Yes. So like we discussed, like you said, like in Tantra, they explain all these things in a very straightforward way. They in fact they see everything as divine. So even female genitals and everything is divine.
Okay.
It's not like it is not seen as if like how people think about it, right? And the other thing is that as they say that that your body is the temple, for example, right, where our soul resides. So it's not just exploring the physical body. It's like I said, it's going beyond it, because every part of our body also has different levels of energy.
Right.
And they are actually a portal. They are actually a portal of energies. So by using it, you can access and not just the chakras. Like, say for example, most of the people speak about 7 chakras in the spine, but there are more than 100 chakras in our physical body actually.
Okay.
So even if we talk about hand on the palm, all the fingers, each finger, index finger, and all the other finger, each finger has its own access to different dimension actually, when used properly, right? So those are the things, So using that, you can access different dimension of reality, and you can explore more. Okay. But like I said, it's not just about having sex, or like people say that it's something different, or
that's
some people say that
confuse themselves, because a lot, like you said, it's misunderstood, like especially out of India, but even in India. So that's where you think people get confused.
Yes, and the other thing is that we all believe that and now even quantum physics believe that there are certain essence, or there are certain aspects of us which comes to us from our past lives, right? So those things also affect us. Now, to remove those things or those traumas, or to heal those things, you use tantric sex, or you use this type of methodologies to transmute and cleanse yourself.
Okay.
Right. Not only cleanse, but you increase your consciousness, or what you call awareness, intensity of it. So that is one thing. But the other side of it is the transmutation part, like we discussed. The more you bring the energy up here, the more it goes up. And once it crosses the heart, then it's a different thing altogether, which cannot be described in words, you see.
Okay.
We cannot describe that in words. Yeah, so one has to go through it, obviously, than just, talking about it. But yeah, that is what it is all about. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how about, tell us a little bit about how is sex seen in India? Because I know, I know a little bit about India, like, because I have many dear friends who are from there. When I lived in England, especially, that's when I met a lot of them. And I worked at a telephone company. I was a customer service representative. And we worked a lot with people from India. And so I made many friends. But I also really came across, and you might find this funny, but I came across my very first experience with the Indian culture was through a telenovela in Brazil. And they showed us the culture, they showed us everything and how things are in India. And so tell us a little bit, how is that? How is sex seen?
So I'll tell you what, you guys, all of you guys can Google this thing up. There is a thing known as Khajuraho. There is a place in India. So sex, not just the sex. In India, you must understand, in terms of religion or what we call religious things, Hinduism was never a religion at first place, right? So it's the most ancient, one of the most ancient cultures. Now, in that culture, we don't count anything as bad or good. We don't say anything that is ugly or which will. We don't preach things like if you do this, then you will go to hell, or if you do this, then you'll go to up to the heaven or something like that. Everything was inclusiveness. Everything is inclusive. We include everything, including your physical self, including sexuality, anything, right?
Okay.
So now there is a place, in ancient times we used to build temples, whereby outside the temple they used to have different statues doing different poses of sex.
Okay.
Okay. So it represents that you leave all your lustful thoughts outside when you enter the divine space. So it's kind of, and at the same time it's vice versa. Like when you look at those idols, it triggers the lust in you, and with that feeling, you go inside the temple, and then there where you transmute that energy into that in the other energy. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is one of the things. But now, unfortunately, because India was invaded by many other cultures, like you've been into UK, so UK was England was one of the people who invaded India. So there were a lot of things which was devastated and destroyed in terms of the culture. Now, if you ask me in present situation, it's a mixed hodgepodge which is happening. So there are people who are exclusively talking about it. They are free-minded people. They talk about it, and it's okay. It's completely fine in India. But then, of course, there are some group of people who still think it's a taboo because of the outside influence that came into India. Yes. So it is actually because of the outside influence that came into India, and then they told them, look, this is a sin. You should not talk about it. You should not touch yourself. It's a sin.
Right.
What
about, there are cultures where women weren't allowed to feel pleasure.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that? We don't have a lot of time, but still, what is your take on that?
I feel it's very unfortunate thing, and I'll tell you why. Because like we were talking about the tantric and tantra, right? For example, even in spirituality, the physical body of female is counted with a very high regards, compared to the physical body of a male. And the reason behind that is obviously because it's through women the man comes into this world, right? At first. Second thing is that it was highly regarded, and it was highly it was praised actually. So every woman in most of the culture, Eastern culture specifically, they were praised like a divine, like a goddess. But unfortunately, in some culture, like you said, there was a suppression of the feminine. Right. Like you said, that they are not allowed to express their sexuality. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a female or a male. Anything which is suppressed will come in, and it bounce back in a very weird state. It'll come in a very bad way, actually.
Yes.
So it could be suppression of sexual thoughts, or it could be suppression of any emotion, and it bounces back, and it comes back in a very not so nice way. So that is why, if you see, it affects the overall aura of a person, overall energy of the place, and the kids, especially their kids. Because just imagine, just think about it. If the female is not allowed to express the sexual energy, she suppresses, the law of suppression, and that female gives the birth to a child. Obviously, the child will carry all those things within.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And again, from psychology perspective, and even from spirituality perspective, it is seen, the more you suppress sex, the more you will become angry, or more you will become violent.
Very true.
You see? So I've seen many people, especially girls, they are like, oh geez, you know what, I feel very restless, I feel very uneasy. I said, calm down. And then I directly ask them, did you have sex recently with your husband or whatever? Because if not, that is the case. You are suppressing those feelings. And I've seen this in girls who work in corporate. They are working for 12 hours at a stretch. They are in stress, and because they are in stress, there is the drive which by default comes to express sexuality, and they are not able to do so, and then the frustration comes, and then gradually that frustration converts itself into depression. That's the sad part.
That is so true. That is so true. We are almost at 1 hour. But we need to come back live and talk a little more about this. There's so much to talk about. The subject just goes on and on. There's this it's one of those things that it's hard to discuss in a little short period of time. But
absolutely.
But G, I need
to
thank you for your time. I need to thank you for your partnership. This is gonna be great. This is just the beginning. It's gonna get better and better.
Absolutely.
And
it will be. Thank you, Ben, and thank you all the viewers. Thank you so much.
Watching.
Isa, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Until next Saturday.
Yes. Adios. Muchas gracias, Isa.
De nada, Paris. Thank you.